So good morning and good afternoon wherever you are in the world. My name is Matt Mangriotis. I'll be talking today very briefly about some of the new exciting things that are coming out of the PMP Solutions space from Cambium Networks. I'm the Director of Product Management for PMP, and focus today will be mainly on the 450 platform. And so let's get started. So Cambium Networks obviously has a wide variety of solutions in the portfolio, ranging from right to left here on this slide, the PTP series of unlicensed products, the PTP 700 and 670, through the Medusa product, which we'll spend a little time on today, making sure everyone understands and knows what cnMedusa and the 450M product is. Best in class, kind of industry leading technology there. The ePMP solutions. We have quite a bit of expansion in the ePMP portfolio as well, and we'll continue to evolve that platform as we move forward in time. And then moving from the left, we have the Pilot series, CN Pilot R series, the residential gateways and routers that can be paired very nicely with the PMP equipment to provide connection into the home. And then the outdoor series of products, the brand new E600, top of the line flagship indoor enterprise class service, and the E500 series, which is our outdoor Wi-Fi service as well. So all these products can be paired together and run and controlled and monitored, configured by cnMaestro, which is a cloud-based or on-premise based solution that provides easy and single pane of glass management for all of our products and solutions. So again, just looking at kind of the offerings that we have go from microwave backhaul, which is high capacity microwave through all of the frequencies that you might have access to, down through the unlicensed backhaul, down to the really affordable solutions that are provided with variants of the PMP and 450 series, as well as the ePMP series of products. And then in point-to-multipoint, we provide that access layer using both 450 series products as well as ePMP in many different frequencies. And then moving to the right, the Wi-Fi solutions, as I mentioned. And then we also launched the Industrial Internet of Things device or solution known as cnReach. This provides a lot of the SCADA, the traditional SCADA type solutions, a serial interface, lots of narrowband, long-range type solutions that are typically used by the utilities and vertical markets. And again, all of this can be cloud managed through cnMaestro. And the Wi-Fi stuff especially is really useful under the autopilot. You can use it as a controller as well. Let's spend a minute talking about the 450M, which contains the cnMedusa technology. This product brings to the table the highest capacity and best spectral efficiency that you'll see in the industry in our line of products. It provides, it works with the 450 system, providing massive multi-user MIMO technology. This allows communication with up to 7 SMs simultaneously, which provides about 3 to 4 times the capacity of an existing 450 in a typically deployed network. So if you have, let's say, 30 to 50 subscribers in a sector, and they're reasonably spread out across that 90-degree sector, this product, simply replacing the access point, will provide you 3 to 4 times the total capacity. Pretty impressive stuff. And it's while doing this, we're doing it with the same size channel. Right now, it provides support for 20, 15, 10, or 5 megahertz channels. And in a 20 megahertz channel, we're showing here, you can achieve over 400. In a lab scenario or a test scenario, we can actually achieve over 600 megabits per second in a 20 megahertz channel. That's 30 bits per second per hertz. Unheard of in this kind of technology, in this kind of industry. And we're protecting your investment in the existing subscriber units. So if you have deployed a 450 system, you can continue to use those same 450 subscriber modules when you use Medusa. It's investment protection for the long run. Uplink sensitivity is better with the 450 Medusa as well. This is due to uplink beamforming as well as uplink sensitivity improvements. So we're more resistant to interference because we're aiming that antenna energy towards a subscriber of interest. All of this requires heavy-duty processing, so our packets per second is well above 100,000. And something not to be overlooked is that this is all contained in one device. There are no RF cables to hook up. Everything is self-contained. You can use a single Ethernet cable to provide power and data. It's a gigabit Ethernet port, obviously, and you can do the entire throughput through that single RF cable, single Ethernet cable, rather. It is truly a massive display, right? We're doing 14 by 14 massive multi-user MIMO. We call it massive because it's beyond any of the standards. It's beyond 8 by 8, which is typically what's known as the highest level of mu MIMO that we see in the marketplace today. LTE standards only go to 8 by 8 mu MIMO. We're doing 14 by 14. We can connect again to up to 7 SMs at the same point in time, same time slot. And so it's really beyond the standard. It's an innovative system. And that beamforming array allows this to happen. It lowers product costs because it's all contained in a single unit. You don't have to connect anything. You don't have to weatherproof any cables. There's no points of failure. And it allows you to do this in a reasonable installation time. It's a very easy deployment. And really, bringing the canopy legacy of everything that we've done to date, we're enabling this operation in high noise environments. And because we do the beam forming and beam steering, we're eliminating possibilities of noise interfering with that signal. So I'll spend a little time talking about the most recent software release, 15.1.1. This is available online as Build Official. It brought forward with it a lot of 450M features. Most of this software release was focused on the new Medusa product. And it brought support for the entire 5 gig band. So we support 5150 to 5925 megahertz. That's the typical. And in the US and other DFS areas, we now allow 5.1 and 5.2 gigahertz support, those bands, mainly for North America. That's mainly where those bands are used. It also supports demo mode on the limited version. So we sell a 450M limited, which is the same hardware, but it's restricted from using multi-user MIMO mode, and it comes at a lower cost than the full version. What this allows you to do is put up the hardware of the 450M and allows you to demo multi-user MIMO mode when you need it. And that demo mode can be active for up to a total of 30 days, and you can turn it on and off at will. So basically what that allows you to do is see in real life, in real operation, when you might take advantage of that capacity. And when you run out of demo time, you can then purchase a key to enable multi-user MIMO mode permanently for the difference in cost between the limited version and the full version. So there's no penalty for trying it and then buying it later. The big thing that this software results, in addition to the channel support and the band support, the big thing that this software release brought to the 450M is additional statistics. And what this does is really help you determine how your sector is utilizing the multi-user MIMO capabilities and the overall throughput. So we'd really like to see you guys post in the forum what your results are when you give this a try. So there are great forum posts already out there explaining the statistics, and we'd like other customers to share their results as they get them. I just want to give an example of real network performance of the product. So this customer in particular has deployed over 200 450M sectors in their network. It's a fairly large network spread across many different geographical areas. But what they're showing is in certain low loading areas, and what I mean by low loading is relatively few number of subscribers. If you look at the left chart on the upper chart, but the left column, you'll see that the customer count of these guys, these 4 sectors, is fairly low: 42, 12, 28, 21. And they were getting about 50 megs through each of those sectors. When we replace that sector with the mu MIMO, the 450M sector, you can see those numbers went up about 4 times throughout each of those sectors. So it went from 54 to 226 and so forth. And we got about a 4.1 times multiplier on the amount of throughput going through these sectors. This is actual data. And you can see the grouping percentage in the table on the right-hand side of the upper chart, showing that most of the time we're grouping at 4 times, meaning we have 4 SMs every time it talks. They're talking to 4 SMs simultaneously or more. Those numbers represent the percentage of time spent in a group of that many, meaning in the first row of the chart, 42% of the time they were in a group of 4, but 48% of the time we were in a group of 5 subscribers, and 10% of the time we were able to group 6 at once. So it's pretty impressive stuff. And then you'll see in the bottom chart that when you add customers, this story becomes even better. And these, again, I want to point out that this is real world data. This is not something in the lab. This is not something that we're making up. This is actual customer data. And in these 3 sectors, we have 72, 94, and 66 customers per sector. And you can see the amount of throughput prior to the replacement was about 45 megs or so. And then after the MU-MIMO replacement, we're seeing 185, 217, 225. All of this data is based on a 20 megahertz channel again. So this is a 20 megahertz channel in the 5 gigahertz space. And we're showing in the bottom section when it's high density that we're having about a 4.6 times improvement. Very, very impressive stuff, real network performance. So that's about all I have to say on the 450M. I'm going to scan through some of the questions that have come in because we're getting some questions as we go here, and I want to make sure I answer the ones that are related to the Medusa product. Someone's asking about the capacity of 450M in a 5 megahertz channel. Typically, when you ratchet down the channel size, you're having, it's a somewhat linear equation, meaning that if you go down from a 20 megahertz to a 5 megahertz channel, you're going to about 1/4 of the capacity. That is generally true. However, when you go to that narrow of a channel, it's going to be a little bit less than 1/4 of the capacity. So in a typical scenario, we'll see something on the order of 30 or so megabits as a maximum in the 450 series of products, but you can still, again, expect to do 3 to 4 times that amount of capacity when you go to multi-user MIMO, if you're able to group those guys accordingly. So we're talking about 80 or so, 80 to 100 megabits of data in a 5 megahertz channel. And there's another question about the maximum number of customers that can be connected to a 450M. The 450M is the same platform of software as all the other 450 series products, and they're all about the same as far as how many subscribers that can be connected per access point or per base station. And that number is 238. That's a software limitation right now. So we can connect up to 238 subscribers per sector in any of the 450 equipment. All right. These slides and this presentation is being recorded and will be posted on our forum as usual for these webinars. The question is, and this is a great question, why would someone buy a 450i if the 450M is that much better? The answer is simply cost. The 450M does cost more than the 450i. So it's really about what you can afford to do and what your return on your investment is for your business plan as a service provider. Maximum distance of a radio in the sector, it really depends on what you're willing to tolerate as far as modulation mode. We can get out to 20 plus miles or 40 kilometers away from the base station. However, if you really want to maintain high modulation rates, therefore higher capacity at your access point, you want to make sure you limit that distance of your CPEs from the sector. This is a 5 gigahertz product that we've been talking about so far. We do support other bands which have different propagation statistics, characteristics rather. We can do a 900 megahertz product, 2.4, 3 gigahertz, and 5 gigahertz products. So they all have different distances. I encourage you to go to the website and look at the Link Capacity Planner tool, which is available on the Software and Downloads webpage. That will help you determine the range that you should be focused on in terms of how much throughput you want to get. And yes, if you add subscribers that are farther away and require lower modulation to communicate to, it is a shared media, meaning that the access point has needs time to talk to those subscribers that are far away. Therefore, it's using up time that it could be talking to other subscribers in higher modulation modes, meaning you're going to drag down the overall capacity of the sector because you're taking additional time to talk to subscribers that are further away or in lower modulation modes. This discussion is really elucidated. It's very well argumented on the forum, the community forum. I can post a link and follow up with that in the thread for this webinar because that's a very good question. I want to talk about what's coming up real quick. We are launching with the next software, the next major software release, which will be 15.2. We're going to launch an app, a mobile installation helper app, if you will, and we're calling that cnArcher. The desire for this application is going to be to help with SM installation. It'll first appear on Android. We will have an iOS version not too long after, and we will first support the 450 based products. We will then follow with ePMP and cnReach as supported by this app. What this brings to the party here is much easier method of installing the SMs. You can use this in conjunction with a dongle, if you will, which it really consists of a battery pack and a Wi-Fi chip. This Wi-Fi chip provides an SSID that your cellular phone or your device, your Android device, can hook up to via Wi-Fi. You don't need the cellular network. You're just hooking up to the local Wi-Fi provided by this dongle. The dongle also provides power and the connection to the radio. So you plug into the subscriber module with the dongle, it's a battery pack, and then it provides that SSID. You connect your phone. Your phone will push the latitude and longitude or the GPS coordinates up through the radio into Maestro. You can evaluate which tower you're going through and select the right tower you want to connect to. Once you get registered to that access point, you can then tune in and align the product correctly. The screen refreshes every quarter of a second or so. Once that's aligned, it'll ask to do a link test. That link test will save the results into Maestro. So that's a really good data point that we may not have had before, where you can go refer to, hey, at time of installation, my link test results were this. So when the customer calls in and says, hey, I'm getting X number of megabits per second, is that right? Or did it change from when you installed it? Now you know. Now you have results of that. You can also push in configuration templates through Maestro, and we are going to allow software upgrades, and that'll be a nice feature as well. You can do software upgrades directly from your cell phone to the radio itself. You don't have to connect to anything else. So what this does really at the end of the day is allow much easier installation, reduce the installation time, and eliminate the errors that could be associated with typing things into the GUI or anything like that. So it's a great addition to the portfolio to have this ease of use. Really, a question is being asked if we're going to use this or do this mobile app and in PTP mode. We don't have, it's not going to be in the first release, but we could add that down the road. We should plan for that as well. I think that's a great idea. I'll shift gears a little bit to talk about the 450B. 450B was announced about a month ago. There's pre-orders being taken for this now, and it will start shipping very soon. Within a couple of weeks, it'll be shipping out of the factory. And the version that's shipping soon is the mid-gain version, the 17 dBi version that's pictured at the top of the page here. It's very similar in look and feel to the Force 180. but it is a 450 inside there. So we've done a lot of things here to enhance packet processing. We have the 450i FPGA in there, which has actually a system on a chip, meaning it's got some embedded ARM processors to enhance the packet processing capability. It allows 40 meg channels out of the gate. It supports the entire band. That's a very important point. So we go down to 4900 to 5925 with this product. And from day one, we will have all bands supported. There's no delay for DFS. There's no delay for other bands. So all bands will be supported day one as soon as you get it out of the gate. It's got a gigabit Ethernet port. And in lieu of the timing port / default port that we used to have on most of our subscribers, we have a single 3.5 millimeter audio jack that can be used for the alignment tone. So as some folks know, the radio, while you're aligning, after you register to a subscriber module, to an access point, you get a tone out of this alignment tone jack. And what that tone is a 1 kilohertz tone that goes up or down in pitch depending on the signal strength being received. So you can use that for alignment as well. It's an alternative to using the GUI alignment page or the cnArcher app. So it's another method of aligning the radio. But now you don't require any kind of special converter or anything for the headset. You can plug a simple headset in directly to the radio. We're reusing the same power scheme, so you can use the same power supplies as the current 450 SM. It's a 30 volt power scheme, but we got rid of the polarity dependency. So if you have a Ubiquiti power supply, let's say, that can provide enough wattage, this product is about 10 to 12 watts, then you can use either Canopy or Ubiquiti type of power supply. And the other key point of this whole thing is that there's no more tiered throughputs. It's simply a $299 MSRP, and there's one SKU, and it is really a very simple product to deploy. There's no more throughput caps, meaning I can push about 300 megs through a single radio. That's about the most you can do in a 40 megahertz channel through a single radio. But it does support up to that kind of throughput. And we've gotten some of these in the field. So I'd like to share a little bit about some betas that have gone on with some folks. I'm going to read a couple quotes because it's better to hear it from the customers than from the vendor. We have a customer in Texas that's using this, and he says, "This is the only tower we're advertising our new 25 by 5 package, and speed test results look great." He says good, but he told me great in person, believe me. Tad's in love with this stuff. So he's got this up on a roof, and he's showing a speed test matching exactly to the package that he's providing. And if you look at the link test below, we're actually capable at this location of doing about 90 megs. So he's got more than enough headroom if he wants to sell them a higher package down the road. So really cool deployment. You can see how it's pictured there. He said it was easy installation, and he's got no complaints about it so far. So great stuff. A couple of other feedbacks that we have is that seeing a big improvement in performance using the new SM versus the old, much better speed test results, and especially using NAT and PPPoE. So this customer in Ireland actually has experienced some limitations by using the existing 450 SM because he does use NAT and PPPoE, and that really taxes the processor a little bit. So it's because this has the higher processor, the much faster processor in it, it's pretty good results he's seeing so far. And another customer in Ireland, Dennis, he achieved speeds of 178 megs download. Of course, he's using a 40 meg channel, and at about 3 kilometers away, he's getting 180 megs download speed. That's pretty impressive. So we're doing pretty good with 450B, and I'm looking forward to getting additional feedback from everyone as this stuff starts to ship. Before I close, I would like to take a moment to make sure I invite everyone to the community forum. A lot of this stuff that I've posted and shared here is already available at the forum. You can go check it out. There's tons of great information on the forum. It's searchable. There's a knowledge base that's constantly being updated. I spend a lot of time personally on the forum. My name is Cambium Matt, so if you ever see posts by Cambium Matt, that's me. We invite you to submit your own ideas for product improvements. and there's lots of information there. So please go to the forum, check it out. And of course, we have social media posts. We have a Facebook page, LinkedIn, all kinds of different ways to get a hold of you. Sign up for all these things. There's a lot of good information that comes out of these. That's it for me today. I will scroll through some of the questions that have come in again and try to answer them all. One question is, will there be a PTP version of the 450B? There are no plans to do that as of right now. It's strictly a subscriber module for the 450 series of products. And it's right now only in 5 gigahertz. A question is, how do you position or how do you distinguish between the ePMP line and the 450 line? Believe me, that's a question that gets asked quite often. And actually, I invite you once more to go on the forums. There are lots of discussions and some very recent discussions about why one would choose one versus the other. I'll give you the highlights, but I do invite you to go read the customer inputs on that on our forum. Highlights are the ePMP series is a lower cost series of products, so you can do similar things at a lower cost with ePMP. However, if you're planning to scale, you may want to consider the 450. It's made with industrial rated componentry. It has it's better hardware at the end of the day. There are several slides and material available to talk through this in more detail. But if you're thinking about scaling, stability, spectral efficiency, there are lots of considerations why you might choose the 450 product line over ePMP. And if you need the capacity that only Medusa can provide, Medusa is only available today in the 450 series, as well as if you have access to certain other frequency bands like 3 gigahertz. ePMP is not available in 3 gigahertz either. So there's many considerations, but ePMP is also a great product and a great value for the money. A question is, would we ever do something like the PMP Now, like the ePMP Now series of webinar type things that go up on our YouTube page? That's getting some traction, and it's a very popular thing that we do. And yeah, actually, we will be focused on some of the PMP products. I think a couple of the engineers are going to do a couple of things in the PMP series, and those a very similar thing. Maybe even from Hawaii. We'll see if they get to go out there. The question is cnArcher a substitute for cnMaestro? And the answer is no. So cnArcher is really a installation tool. It's an app that resides on the cell phone or anything that has an Android operating system, but it's an app for Android and subsequently iOS. But it does not replace Maestro. It's not a monitoring tool. It's not a troubleshooting tool. It's simply for the installation process to guide installation. Now it integrates with cnMaestro in that it pushes information into your Maestro instance, but it is not a replacement by any means. It's an addition or a complement. Shipping date is being asked for the high gain. When is the high gain coming? Because we talk about the high gain 450B, which is a 25 dBi integrated dish, much like the Force 200. That's later on down the road. We're expecting it in Q4. It looks like possibly November at this point in time. And the question, is there any PMP in 6 gigahertz? And by 6 gigahertz, I am going to guess that you mean like for Russia or Poland, where some of the upper 5.9 type to 6.4 type of frequencies are available. No, we don't have any PMP products. I'm sorry, we don't have any PMP 450 products that are available to operate in those bands. The ePMP product, though, extends a little bit higher and is being positioned in those types of regions. So stay tuned for some information on that as well. And I think I hit most of the questions. Let me scan through one more time and make sure. There's a question about licenses. The question is, are licenses transferable? And I'm not sure what kind of license you're talking about there. But the question is essentially, if I have a product that gets hit by lightning or it goes down somehow, can I move that software license to the replacement product? And I think it depends on the software license itself. Licenses generally are not transferable, but if you have a product in, that is covered by some kind of warranty, if you've paid for the license, we should make sure that you're whole on the replacement product, that kind of thing. Does the CN installation tool have an API for integration if we do not use CN Maestro? It won't day one. However, we are thinking about that, and we will let you know when that becomes available. I think that's something we have definitely thought about, having that API to make it integratable with other tools besides CN Maestro. So we are thinking about that for sure, but it won't day one. Any other questions? I'll give you guys one more chance to type something in. And otherwise, I thank you for your time. Does cnArcher require cellular data? No, it does not. So you do not have to connect to the cellular network. And it says, what version of CN Maestro will support Archer? I don't know the answer to that in terms of version number, but when cnArcher comes out, it will work with the existing version of CN Maestro that's available at the same time. And how does it connect to Maestro? It's connecting through the AP. So once you're registered to the AP, you're connecting and pushing data from the SM through the AP to Maestro. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time again, and look forward to talking to you next time. Thanks again.